Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I am here to do another one of our projects, favourite projects revisited from 2019. And I couldn't really let it go by without revisiting the altered 12 by 12 papers that we, dislikable papers or unusable papers from the 12 by 12 pads. We had such a lot of fun doing the 12 by 12 papers that I'd done back in the summer that I just couldn't resist coming on to revisit that. So I have brought along a selection of pages that I thought I could, play around with, and we can see what we come up with. So I might just take these two first, and I'm taking these because they're quite a dark background. So hopefully you can really see that they're going to be, I guess trickier to cover up than something that's quite pale. So let's just cut this down, and the only reason I'm cutting this down is literally so that I can fit it onto the screen a little bit easier, because otherwise I'm obviously struggling to get it all in for you guys. And I'm going to do exactly the same with this one, just cut it down, just again so that I can just fit them in for you guys to be able to see what we're doing a bit better. Now, if you followed my original video, which I will link at the end on one of those end screens, I started by covering the papers with gesso. So I'm just going to do exactly the same method here. So I just have a big blob of that. So let me just move this one out of the way for a minute. And what I should do is probably pop this around the edge. So I'm just going to go over the paper with the gesso, like that. And I mean, I'm not being obviously too precise or anything like that. I mean, I probably couldn't even if I wanted to be, because I'm just not that way inclined. But I'm just literally giving it a good covering so that it's, muted that entire colourway, and the pattern is then disguised. So I'm just going to turn this round, oops, like that, so that we can get to this side. My brush is very stiff, even though I did wash it straight out after doing my video the other day with the Mod Podge on it, but obviously it's still stiff from the time before. I could do with washing it with some conditioner, hair conditioner. I think that kind of helps to soften the brushes. And probably you guys have probably got loads of really great tips for how to restore your paint brushes. I mean, you guys probably look after your brushes much better than I do anyway in the first place. So I am very poor at looking after things like that. Okay. So the only thing that I am trying to do, and again, I mean, it's not too much of a problem, but I'm trying to just make sure that my brush lines are at least going in the same direction. So that's the only thing that I'm being a little bit careful and fussy about. Okay. So that's my sheet covered. I'm just going to pop that to one side, and we'll just paint the other one. And then I'll probably stop the video and actually dry them with my heat tool so that I can crack on and actually get on with the video without having to wait for ages for them all to dry. So there we go. Hope everyone's having a good day. The sun is shining here. It's pretty cold, but the sun is shining. My son has gone back to work today. I mean, obviously I'm filming this ahead with the view to hopefully this going up, in a couple of days, but yeah, I'm actually filming this on the Friday, so he's gone back to work today. He didn't go back yesterday because, I might be repeating myself, but the guy he works with who, drives and obviously takes him to the location where they're working, he was having a day's annual leave, and yesterday, i.e. Thursday, and my son would have just not really been able to get to where they're working because he can't drive, so it would have been a bit of a nuisance on the train with changes and things like that. So it would have meant a really early start. So he just decided to take a day's annual leave as well and start back on the same day as his workmate. So yeah, the house seems a bit quiet without him. I mean, obviously my other two are home, but I always feel sad when they go back to work and school and things. So although sometimes they drive you crazy when they're at home, it's always sort of sad when they go back. So yeah, those conflicting feelings. No, we've had a nice break, so yeah. Right, I'm going to now dry these off on the heat tool and I will be back. Right guys, I have dried my papers. I mean, they're not 100%, but they are good enough. So as you can see, I have now just dug out a whole bunch of different coloured distress ink pads. So I'm just going to move those to one side. I just move my gesso onto the floor so that's no longer in my way. And if we do, you know, one sheet at a time is probably best. I have brought along some random stamps that I thought that we could decorate the back with. So let me just grab them in. I've got a variety of different stamps, but just with different patterns and what have you on them. So I'm just going to get my black StazOn, or actually I may use my timber brown perhaps for this one. So what I might start with, this is a Kaisercraft set and it's called Memory Lane, and hopefully you can see there you've got this long strippy background type piece. So I'm going to just take that and just stamp that in a couple of places onto the page. Now, get that off. I don't very often use a block. And actually, I'm now looking in my drawer. I don't even think I've got a block that's big enough for this stamp. So hold on. Hopefully I'm not going to shake the desk around too much, but I may end up doing, I'm afraid. So I'll apologise now. No, I don't think I've really got a block that's big enough. So I'm just going to stamp this, you know, in a couple of random places onto the page. So I'm just going to take my timber brown, and what I might do is actually stamp that just onto some book page, just because I haven't used it for a while. I just want to check it's picking up the ink nicely. Yep, actually that might not be dark enough. Might have to switch that to the black. So got the black one here. If I can get into it. Okay. Now this is why my hands are invariably covered in ink, although I have to say my hands are now covered in ink and gesso, so not really a great look, but I'm sure you guys understand. Right, okay, so hopefully that's coming out good enough. Just going to do a bit of stamping down here. So I'll just place it quite close to the edge there. Okay, and I'm going to do the bottom section now, and might just do that here. Hopefully I'm in frame. I am actually standing up to do this stamping. Oh my gosh, I mean that was hideous stamping that was. It was because I took my eyes off of the stamp to check that I was in frame. So I literally then sort of moved the stamp about, but it doesn't matter, it's fine, because all we're actually doing is creating some background page here. So, you know, don't worry too much if your stamps are not you know, lining up properly or anything like that, because you're just making some background. That's all we're doing. So, you know, invariably your background pages get quite covered up anyway once you come to actually use them. So don't panic if that type of thing happens to you. So I'm just going to pop those back in the packet. Try and be good. Now I've got this one here, which you can see highly used. I couldn't even tell you what brand this is. Yeah, I've had this for literally years, so I could not even tell you what brand this is. But again, it's quite a scripty background stamp, so I'll just demonstrate here. I will try and get at least partially some butterfly in. Okay, so again, this is one of those quite thirsty stamps. So it sucks up a lot of ink on this. I hope it's going to actually be, you know, what's the word? Inked up enough to actually even show through. But again, I mean, if it's not, I won't get too worried. So, I mean, you can see the butterfly's not particularly come out. But I have got a bit of the sort of scripty pattern from the back. So we just pop that there. So that's that one. Just pop that to the side. And then I've got here, now this one I absolutely love. I'm pretty sure that this was in a, I'm thinking a Prima set. So let's just stamp that on there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a Prima set of stamps. I'm just going to stamp that there. And a bit more here. A little bit here. A bit over there. And I mean, again, as you can see, that's gone completely skew-iff. But, I mean, I'm not too worried because, like we say, you know, this is just your background page. So, effectively, it's going to be pretty well covered up. And then I've got this little one here. Again, I couldn't tell you what this is, I'm afraid, because I've had it for a long time and it just floats around in my drawer now. But hopefully you can see it just has this lovely Le Romantic. I've not obviously pronounced that at all well. Pronunciation, not really my strong point, particularly if it's any sort of accent required. But just stamping that a bit because it's a really pretty font. So just to have that a little bit is quite nice. And let me just pop these in the drawer so that they're away a little bit. And then I've also brought along definition stamps here. Again, these are Kaisercraft stamps, and I've got definition of the word love here. And actually, I could just pop this onto a block. My block is filthy, so please excuse my terrible storing methods that I have here for my stamps. But I'm just going to just stamp that to the side. Okay, lucky I did, because it would have been upside down. Just stamp that there. Oops, really very smudgy, because as I did it, I knocked the block. So there we go. So for me, I'm probably better off stamping without a block, to be honest, but never mind. Right, pop that back into the pocket, just so that I'm keeping them a little bit better than my general standards, which are terrible. Okay, so we'll do one sheet at a time. So this one, as you can see, is, you know, pretty well. Actually, we will stamp them both, I think. Yeah, because then I can clear the stamps off of my desk. So we'll just carry on exactly as was. So these are some stamps from the Wish app. And they're actually kind of Leonardo da Vinci stamps. Which, to be fair, I think I misordered these. I think I actually meant to order some different ones. And these were what arrived. Whether these were what arrived or whether these were actually what I mistakenly ordered, I'm not quite sure. I suspect I ordered the wrong ones. But, you know, they're okay. They're good stamps, as in they do a good image, if you can see. But it's just they wouldn't have been necessarily my choice of what I would have ordered. But, you know, they're okay. Okay, pop that one down there, and might just have a section here. So if I just ink that up more just over the scripty bit, and then I just stamp that here. Hopefully, yeah. So I haven't now got obviously the image there. I've just got the sort of scripty section of the stamp. I'll just pop those back away. Yeah, I thought I would do this after all, because then I can actually clear these stamps off of my desk, which would probably be beneficial, because it would free up a little bit more space. So again, I'm just going to use these ones. Again, these are from that Wish app, and they're really lovely stamps. These ones I did order the right set, so, or you know, I did get the set that I thought I had ordered, so. Okay, I'll just pop this one here, and we'll just do the next one. And I might just do another one up here, I think. Okay, pop those back. And then this one also included a little sort of section of scripty stamp. So again, I should probably stamp this and make sure I'm getting this the right way up. Yeah. Okay. I'll just randomly stamp script around in, you know, various places around on the paper. Just stamp it here, going off the page a bit, and I might just put some straight above it, and then maybe some here. Do we want any more? Maybe just a little bit at the side, like that. Let me just pop this one away now. Trying to be very good. Oops. Now that's where my not looking after the stamps comes in, because did you see I couldn't be bothered to take this out. So all I was actually doing was tearing the packet, and that's why then they're invariably all dropping out of the packets, and I no longer know what stamps what. But, right, so that's that one. Did I bring some other stamps? I thought I had, but now I can't see them anywhere. Right, so might go in with what else might we like? Well, I've got this sort of swirly corner one. I use this a lot, so maybe we'll just have some of that there. Maybe a little bit over here. I mean, definitely, if you're new to, you know, junk journals or crafting generally, to be honest, and you haven't really built up a sort of supply, I would really recommend get some, what do you call these? Like swirly type stamps, potentially sort of background stamps, but they really are so very versatile. And I mean, as you can see here, it's just literally filling in any blank areas, and they just look really pretty. And I mean, you don't even have to stamp the whole stamp. You can just take sections of the stamp to use. So if you're building up your stash, I would really recommend getting some swirly kind of backgroundy stamps, because I think they really offer a, you know, good value, because you know, once you've got them, they generally last. I mean, they don't particularly if you lose them and lose the packaging like I do, but they're pretty good. And I think value for money, stamps are brilliant. And I know that I did say already, but I've managed to do like a collaboration with crafty individuals whose stamps I absolutely love. So coming up on my channel pretty soon, I haven't got started just yet, but it will be soon. I'm going to give you all the details of discounts available with crafty individuals, and share the beautiful stamps that I'll be using, you know, from their collections. And yeah, I mean, definitely their stamps I would really recommend. They're absolutely gorgeous, and I really use them quite a lot in my projects. So that's all to come on my channel pretty soon. So but I also do really like Kaiser Craft. I think they're really also lovely stamps and things. So, you know, if you wanted to just get buying some straight away, then they're a good option too. So, right, I have stamped across my background pages. Now, as you can see, I mean, this started out red and this one was pink, but straight away with the gesso and the stamping, they actually look pretty similar colours, don't they? So, you know, that straight away gives you a bit of an idea of how altered they become so very quickly. As you can see, because we have stamped randomly around the pages, you've got lots of different sections. Because, I mean, obviously you're probably not going to use this in its entirety unless you're making like an envelope or a fold or something. But if you're not doing that, you've got this as a pretty big, or a pretty varied piece, you know, with lots of pieces. But funnily enough, actually, as I did that, I did just think, oh, I might have to have this as an envelope because that looks really lovely. So I'm going to pop that one to one side and we'll come back to that. This one here, what I thought we could do, I've got this little bird spotting book, which has got loads of really lovely images, really nice colours, you know, quite vibrant. And what I thought we could do is make something using these little images from this book. So I managed to pick this up at a car boot sale a few months ago. I can't see any date or anything in it, I'm afraid. But it's just called Bird Spotting and it's by John Holland. It's book 4, Doves to Crows, it says. But it's really nice because the images are really small and, you know, or they're just perfect sizes, I think, for ephemera type pieces. And they're gorgeous colours. So, yeah, I think they're really nice. This one, strangely enough, actually, I just happened to open it at that page. And isn't that a brilliant colour for this? So, let's take maybe the Wild Honey and see what we can do with this. So I'm just going to pop this here behind, and what I will do is literally start by just inking a little corner of that to see what, you know, what happens to it, what sort of shade I get. Now I quite like that, so I'm going to just ink up this. And what I might do is actually ink the entire page, because then I've got the entire page that I can use for several similar-ish and coordinating pieces. So first of all, I'm just starting going around the edges because I can fill in obviously the middles in a minute. So I'll just go all around the edge of that. Okie dokie, like this. And again, I mean, don't worry too much if it's a bit patchy, because, you know, you're really not going to see that too much. By the time you've used this as your background page and decorated it up, you know, you're not really going to notice how patchy your inking is. And to be fair, sometimes, you know, when you buy patterned papers, they often are patchy, aren't they? Now what I'm going to do, before I actually ink up the centre, I'm going to just check how I'm going to be using this. So this one here, what I might do, I'm just reaching down to my side, I may do an envelope with this, because I think that would look really quite nice. So I think what I'll do is actually tear this down around about here. Oops, oh my gosh, look at that terrible tearing. That was just horrendous, wasn't it? It was because I was trying to avoid getting the white bit on this. and wow, I just really mucked that up. So obviously, as you can see, this is too big for the envelope at the moment, so I'm just going to tear it down a little bit further, like that, and I'm just going to tear the top as well, and I will tear the other side just so that I've got torn edges really on all of my sides now. So like that, unless I put some lace down there, in which case, you know, I might not even need to tear that down. I'm going to tear this down here, like that. Oops. Okay, so I've got that piece there. I mean, actually, the strangest thing is I quite like that with the two-tone, because this bird is two-tone. He's got the pink and the, you know, this amber sort of colour. So it sort of looks quite nice to me, but I think probably, you know, for the more pleasing look, I will actually ink around the entire piece. So let's just ink the entire thing like that. Okay. So that's really nice colourway now, isn't it? And looks really nice against that dove. Now what I've got here is just some of that, you know, the middle, the centre of the doily. So I think I'm going to back him onto there in the first instance. So I'll just, actually I'm going to just ink him around just a little bit on the edges, like that. And then we'll just glue him down onto that doily piece. And it's great to be able to use like the all of the doily, isn't it? So there we go. And I'm just going to then tear around. I've left that huge, so I'm going to have to tear that down a bit more, but just tear that around like that. And then a bit more down here. Okie dokie. So, I mean, that just looks lovely, doesn't it? And then I've also got this, it's not cheesecloth, I don't think, really, but, well, it's not, but it was the lining of a blouse, and I have used it several times in videos and things, but it's brilliant because it really tears really nicely. So I'm going to, I think, back him onto this. Can you see? It's really got this lovely frayed effect. So it's a really nice, you know, material to work with. So I'm just going to pop him on there using my 3-in-1, which hopefully is going to play nicely. Yeah. Okay, so just glue that down on there. Oops. Okay. So just press it down on the other side, because otherwise that's just going to go all over my piece. So I'm just going to now trim around to get it started, and then I'm just going to, she says, tear the fabric. Not that it seems to want to be tearing today. Ugh. Right, again, how not to graft. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of like get it started like that. That's fine. And to be honest, I mean, actually, the more raggedy, the better. So, you know, maybe that was quite handy that that happened. And we'll just tell ourselves that anyway. So I can now just shift that down a little bit like that. And then I'm just going to cut here. like that. Oops, just cut that end off. Okay. So really nice, and lots of raggedy sort of pieces there, which just looks really, really pretty. So we've got that. Now, I think what I'm going to do is stamp up some bits around the edge of the envelope, just because otherwise that envelope to me looks quite plain and boring. So what I'm going to do is just take that same cornery swirly stamp that we used on the other sheet of paper, and just pop this here, and I'm just going to go round the edges like that. And again, you know, I'm really not worried how this stamp's looking, because obviously this whole envelope is pretty much going to be covered up. The only bits showing are going to be these very edge pieces, so it really doesn't matter how peculiar that this is looking right now. It will look fine. I hope it will. I'm saying, oh, it will look fine. It might not, but hopefully it will. So like that. And then going to bring our piece back in like that. Okie dokie. Now, the other thing that's quite nice about these, or this little book, is it's got the little name here of that bird, which isn't that just lovely? So I'm just going to cut this out. I mean, I love tearing, as you know, but this is very close to that text beneath, so I think I would struggle to make a good job of tearing that. So I'm just going to now rough those edges up a little bit. I just like to do that for a bit of added interest. And then I'm just going to ink slightly that wild honey. I still love that colour of that wild honey. It's just such a beautiful colour. And it's strange because, I mean, obviously it's quite yellow, but, you know, I'm not normally a yellow person, but it's really, really nice. Now, I did just throw the rest of that material in the carrier bag, my rubbish bag beside me. I've just pulled it back out because I've just got this tiny piece here that's just right for backing that little word on. So just pop that on there. Come on. I haven't got the foggiest how long we've been filming for, so I hope I'm not too far over. Well, I don't know what over means, but, you know, I hope I'm not really been on here for ages. I feel like this has been quite long, but it's just the nature of what we've been doing. I think it's one of them things that can't be rushed. Right, so that's my little name for the bird. Now let me just check what the time is. 27. And I did stop, didn't I, to dry the pieces. Right. Also going to pop some doily downs. This is just some coffee dyed doily, which again, colour wise, that just looks so lovely against that paper, doesn't it? So really loving how that looks. So I'm going to glue this down now, like that. Come on. Okay, let me move these out of the way before I end up gluing them on as well. And as you can see, I didn't tear that edge because I am going to pop some lace on there. So, you know, I've left it. Let me just run some more glue down there. Okay, and I'm just going to run a little bit more here. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to just ink around the edge of that envelope. Again, with that wild honey, so it's picking up that, you know, the yellow sort of tones. Looks very pretty, I have to say. I mean, I'm not a yellow girl, as I say, but I do quite like, or I do love actually, that wild honey. It just looks beautiful. So something like that. Now, just got some ivory lace here to the side, which I'm going to just pop down there, which just finishes that kind of nicely along there. So, and actually I just thought, did I want some sheet music anywhere? So we just tear this down. See whether we want that just anywhere as well. Oops. Oh gosh, too many bits and pieces now on here. Let me just ink this up, and I'm going to ink this with my walnut stain, I think, instead. So let me just put in my rough piece of paper. I've got another ink pad here. Oops, no, I've obviously been using that for something else. Oh well. I was going to ink this in the walnut, but oh, it is the walnut, but I must have picked up, oh, who knows what I've done, to be honest. But anyway, so this is also now quite yellow. It wasn't supposed to be, it was supposed to be walnutty, but doesn't really matter. I might just let me see if I can get more walnut colour going on here to just go around the very edge of that sheet music. Like that. Okay, right. That just makes that stand out slightly better. I mean, obviously my intention had been to use the walnut stain in the first place, but never mind. So I'm just going to pop that down using my tacky glue, like that. Just pop that down there. And then I'm just going to pop the doily down. Oh my gosh. Literally flinging the glue now everywhere. Come on. Okay. Right, so we'll pop that down there. I'm going to pop that on there. So just stick that down a bit with my dry wipe. And then we're going to pop this on here. Oops. Like that. Oh, I can hear the children getting a bit noisy downstairs, so I might not get time to work with that other sheet of paper, so might have to do that a bit later on in the month, because yeah, I've got this horrible feeling I'm about to be interrupted. So that looks pretty, doesn't it? And then we're just going to have a bit of lace down the side, so just pop that there. Come on. Okie dokie. So we just place that down there. Okay. Just mop the excess glue. Oops. Trim that down here. And then I'm just going to trim down. I know I say this all the time, but I mean, I do sometimes leave that header, but strangely actually less and less more recently. I think, yeah, I seem to be leaving it less and less as time goes by, but anyway. So we've got that one there, and I'm going to stick the name. Strangely, I don't very often put things in the middle, but I'm going to put the name, I think, in the middle here. Come on. Okay, so just pop that down there. And of course I can't not have bling, so I'm just going to pop some bling on. And have you noticed I've been really using this gold bling quite a bit recently. So this one is actually gold, but it's got silver middles, silver centres, but I'm quite liking it. Took me a while to convert from my absolute favourite, which is still my favourite, you know. But this one just looks quite nice with this project. So just going to pop that on. Hold on. Okay. So just going to stick that on here. Oh. Like that. So that looks really pretty, doesn't it? And I'm just going to see if I want to have a butterfly or anything added on there. Hold on 2 moments. I'm just going to pull in my butterflies. I mean, that's not a bad match actually, and these ones here are not bad, and neither's that one. So let me just cut these down. Okay, now which one do I think? Actually, I'm veering towards this one, I think. And these are just my butterfly printables, which are in my Etsy. They're all the same breed of butterfly, but he's been recoloured. So we have the same breed, but in all various colourways now. So hopefully there's, you know, lots of nice options to go with lots of projects. Picked the same breed of butterfly because I just think once you get cutting, you find which shapes you like cutting best. So some butterflies are more fiddly than others. I mean, there are a few actually that I don't mind cutting out so much. So I might do some more other breeds, but probably in different colours again. But yeah, these are, I find, quite easy to cut out. So that's why I quite liked these. So, right, pretty that is. And just deciding, do we want it sort of more like a cluster in the middle? Let me stand up and see it looking down. I just often think you do get a really different perspective when you look down on something rather than sat down. No, I like that there. So it wasn't my intention to stick that onto that fabric, but it does look quite nice there. So let's just pop that down using the 3-in-1 because obviously it's going onto that fabric. And actually I might just need to just glue that fabric down a bit more in the corner. I don't want my butterfly flapping around on the page. There we go. Just check whether I want anything in the middle of him. I mean, obviously that's too big, but let me just see. Could have another bit of that bling. Let's just check. Oops, I've got the rest of it that I'd cut off into a strip. So let's just check there. Oh gosh, always when I try it, I think, yep, got to have it now. So I shouldn't really try it because I then just can't help myself. Right, let's just pop this bling on and then this piece is done. So there we go. Oh, so pretty. Looks lovely. Okay, right. So we have that piece. Now the time is 38 plus however long it was that I took to do the first bit. And as I say, I can hear people downstairs, obviously getting a bit bored of waiting for me. So I might have to cut it short there. But I'm just going to recap the piece of paper that we started with. So this was from this piece of paper. This background was this. I would just pull in the other chunk that we've got left. Obviously I made that hideous job of tearing that, so there's not as much left as I thought. But that's what we've done from this original sheet of paper. So again, I mean, I hope that you're enjoying these projects revisited. As I say, I'm just going to do like a week's worth, so probably like 7. But hopefully they're really interesting and useful for anyone who didn't pick up the initial video or missed the initial one, or maybe sort of saw it, but then, you know, thought, oh, I'm going to do that, and then, you know, like we all do, get waylaid with other projects and maybe forget about them. Hopefully this is a nice kind of recap. So it's certainly been quite fun for me, and always really nice to be able to use up those papers that previously, you know, haven't really kind of, you know, veered towards. So I hope that you like them. I mean, I love that transformation. I think you would never believe that that paper had come from this. And yeah, it looks really, really nice. So hope that you liked it, and I will hopefully, after this series, I have several other things planned on my channel, but I will try and squeeze in the other sheet of paper at some point. So yeah, hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Thanks, Em. Bye.